You're watching jack stands and cinder blocks.
This video is a complete vehicle rescue from beginning to end. I bought this thing sight unseen from an auction site as a non-running vehicle. I then had to devise a plan on how to get it here. I knew I'd need a lot of my tools to get it running, and after a few weeks of head scratching, I devised a plan of using the mill truck to haul an empty trailer to the location where I would work on the truck. I'd be able to use the mill truck to get around town, buy auto parts, get food, that kind of stuff. And after getting this vehicle running, I'd then be able to install a receiver hitch and tow the mill truck back with it. I was surprised at how easily I got the vehicle running, but it had plenty of other surprises for me. After the auction yard charged me a bit more for storage and having to pay for a tow to get this thing off their property, my first trip to rescue this vehicle was unsuccessful. I did everything I could on it and devised a game plan on how to better rescue it on my returning trip. Alright, here we are under the hood of the C70. We're going to check the oil, check out, see if the battery even has any juice. We do have a battery. We have a spare carburetor cap, rotor, coil, ignition module, and plug wires available. I see a Ford starter solenoid here. That could indicate we've had issues starting, or might be for powering up other stuff. Let's see if we got a milkshake. Nope, good old black oil. Might be a little over-serviced. Alright. Yeah, it looks like it's a little high. It was about to the U or the E there instead of the full. We'll figure that out later. But it's not a milkshake. That's a good sign. We'll grab a multimeter, check out this battery. If not, we got a spare, a full battery that's got a good charge. And we'll see where we go from here. I did recover a couple of brake fluid jars from over there. It is a vacuum over hydraulic system. Got a mechanical gas pedal to the carburetor there. I don't know. It's a little rustier than I thought it'd be. Holes there. Dead mice in the seat. Whole place is a mouse nest. We're going to scoop out what we can, put it in a trash bag to include that rubber floor mat. I know I might need it to cover the hole in the floor, but I think I'd be better off with some cardboard that's not infected with mouse feces. So we have put a battery in it, checked the oil. It does have oil, it's not a milkshake, and the battery turns it over. So we're going to try, after we clean this up a little bit, try to put a little gas down the carburetor, see if she'll fire up. Alright, I'm recording with the glasses so I can go hands-free here. We've already scooped out a good bit of the hantavirus contaminated items. We're just going to keep scooping out as much of the infected stuff we can. Some of this stuff I might be able to clean and save, like this taillight, air cleaner, my dash pad, or my dash console glove box. We'll clean those and save them, but yeah, the rest of this is just garbage, and we're going to do our best to get rid of the garbage part and keep the good part, and get it as clean as we can safely. That looks like it was a wiper blade. I got a bag I found in the truck that I'm using as a large garbage bag, and that way I could save the plastic garbage bag for the smaller, more disgusting parts. Oof, that was an actual dog turd, I think. At this point, a dog turd's welcomed compared to this other stuff. I don't want to tear a glove on this, so I'm just going to go ahead and rip it out. There we go. And not enough of it left to save anyway. The way square bodies work, that might be a cup holder. You can just put your cup on the floor and set that on there to keep your cup from tipping over. Kind of an ingenious little device. So I found another dog turd. We'll have to bleep that part out, but yeah, gross. I don't know what vintage these Dr. Pepper cans are, but they're not new. We're definitely going to have to find a car wash that has a vacuum cleaner. This is gross. There we go. Get rid of that. Vinyl floor mats are, they cause rust, especially when you have rodents. There we go. Peel that junk away. Alright, I picked this up at a Copart auction. They would not let me so much as throw a battery in it in their yard or outside their yard. So I had to pay a towing fee to a lot adjacent to them. So far we've done a little diagnostics. We've thrown a battery in there. We've checked the oil. Opened up the door, found some dead mice and that kind of stuff. Shoveled out what I could with some clean gloves, and then I threw those gloves away immediately. I've gone ahead and added the push button here. Let's see, what is that cable? This cable, I'm guessing these are, I don't know, maybe speedometer and PTO or something. We don't know yet. But we'll go ahead and turn the ignition switch on and see what we've got. The smell of hantavirus. You're kidding me. No way. It was that easy? Needs fresh gas. I did take a sniff at the tank. The tank is bad. Now the fuel in the tank is bad. So what we do have, thanks to Square Body Eric, he suggested I bring a boat tank. So I can plumb in a boat tank to the fuel pump, and that'll get us to a gas station. We'll find a way of getting rid of this junk later. We might just have to make the whole trip on 5-gallon gas tanks with the boat tank. But we could potentially be driving this truck. The tires all seem to be holding air. I did spot a bad one in the back. That one. And I have, well, that other one doesn't look great either. And I have no means to be able to change these. I don't have tire spoons. I don't have tires. I don't have that size nut. Well, we'll see how far we make it. We might need to start doing things like hooking up brakes, clean out the interior a little better. But we do know that the engine runs. Then we'll work on getting that boat tank on there next. I have a feeling I'll just find a hole in the floorboard, set that tank in the passenger floorboard, and go from there. Alright, we've done a little bit of picking up, and it was just so disgusting. I went ahead and got some Simple Green and a scrub brush. We're going to try to get this a little bit cleaner so I can get in here and work in it a little better, and eventually drive it to a car wash that has a vacuum cleaner, because this is gross. Ooh, I do smell my, I did spray some Lysol in here previously before I left to go get the Simple Green. Oh, it smells like Simple Green, which is an improvement. All right, let's just brush. Notice I'm not brushing it towards me at this time. I'm trying to brush it into the floorboard so I can recover it off the floorboard without wearing it. You see they burrowed into the seat to nest in it. That's probably the worst seat I think I've ever seen for a rat's nest or rodent nesting. I really wish I'd have brought I have a seat that's in a lot better shape, and I could have brought it with. I didn't think that clearly. There's a lot of things I wish I'd have done, like not bid on this thing in the first place. At the time I bid on it and won, it was a ridiculously low price, but now I've negated that by paying the storage fees. So, and the biggest problem with that is that the size of this vehicle. Copart actually would not release it to me because I didn't have a vehicle big enough to tow it with. And they don't allow any working on the vehicles at their yard. Despite what other supposed videos suggest, I was told by the guys at Copart, whoever's making those videos is not working at a Copart yard because Copart vehicles are never on jack stands. And he said the videos he saw, the guy was working on vehicles that were on jack stands. Alright, let's grab that brush. Continue sweeping the big stuff out of here. I don't know why I'm cleaning this side of the seat so well. I gotta sit on the other side. But the more of it I get out of here now, the less chance I get sick or what have you. I don't really have any water to rinse it down with, but it smells a lot better in here for where I have sprayed. You can see back under and behind the seat we still have piles, but this area's been scrubbed pretty good with some Simple Green, and that's exactly where I need to put my boat fuel tank. And so we're going to proceed with that step, get this thing running a little bit better, get it running on a fuel cell instead of just pouring gas down the carburetor, and we'll come back on that step. So I'm about to go get the boat tank, set it in here, see if I need to add a hole, maybe up there, or use one of the existing holes. At this point, I'm not against adding a hole where I need it. To be safer, I can always take a patch and weld it in later. So anyway, we'll be back soon. All right, since y'all didn't get to see this earlier, but I did, no windows through the block, no holes through the oil pan, a little sunlight hitting through there between the holes in the frame rail, I guess. But I'm gonna connect a boat tank to this fuel pump to avoid sucking up the really bad rotten gas that's in the tank until we can get that out of there. Oh, do need to save that clamp, hose clamp. Let's loosen it a little bit more. But the interior of the cab's been cleaned enough where I can probably drive it to a car wash or somewhere to go do a little bit better job of cleaning it. One, I think I ought to just pressure wash the inside and then vacuum it, or just vacuum it and then pressure wash it. I don't know. But I put Simple Green in there, and it is neutralizing that rat urine smell and maybe even some of the nuclear, chemical, biological weapons that they've spread. So let's get this fuel line swapped out. Sit down your purse and pull on it. There we go. Hopefully that's not going to leak a lot of varnish on me. Bone dry. Okay. And if I look real close here, I've already fed this down from the top. Looky there, looky there. Hopefully I picked the right one to disconnect from the, yeah, there we go, That line goes to the frame, which follows back towards the fuel tank is. So here we go. Got our temporary fuel tank partially plumbed already. Oh yes. All right. Step one. Actually, step one was getting it to start and verifying it had life. Now we're gonna run it off some fresh gas. See if the carburetor's any good. And if this carburetor's any good, I guess we'll start working on lights and trailers. And if it's not, we have some more work to do. I do have a spare carburetor with me. All right, I dare not go any tighter because I'll break the hose clamp. All right, we're gonna put a little bit of, we'll prime this fuel bowl. All right, we're gonna go ahead and prime this fuel line, which I should have done in advance, but we're gonna go ahead and prime this fuel line the best we can at the temporary tank, and then we're gonna put a little bit of gas in the carburetor. Crank her up for a little bit, multiple times until we get this fuel pump working. That could be a nightmare too. If the fuel pump diaphragm's bad, that could be why the oil level looks like it's high. Alright, so here's our temporary fuel cell. We've drilled 2 holes in the floorboard. That one, there's a channel underneath there, the body mount channel. That was in the way, so I drilled a new one up and over. That cleared everything under the truck is easier, so I was able to route the fuel line there. There's my fuel line routed through the floorboard. I routed it between the alternators so it wouldn't get too close to the exhaust and it would keep it away from all these belts. So it's routed through there and to the fuel pump. And now we've got that connected. We do have a slight leak at the carburetor, but I'm going to go ahead and start it up for y'all. I'm assuming it's going to start. It started earlier when I gave it a little sip of gas. So we'll do that. And we do have a minor leak with the radiator. These are just... Okay, that's one hose to replace. That's not too bad. Everything else looks like it's pretty good shape. I'm seeing it drip down there, but it's dripping from up here. Right now, the nickname of this truck is the Hantavirus Express. But I've done some cleaning, simple greening, and brushing. And we're gonna go ahead and hop in here. We know the key switch works because it turned over earlier. Like I said, it started with just pouring gas down the carburetor. Still have to figure out what's going on with this. All right, we're neutral. All right, we're still having issues there. It turned over just fine earlier. Okay, I don't know about these air controls. All right, she was turning over. All right, I was going to demonstrate that it starts and runs, but now the starter doesn't want to turn it over. That might have something to do with something else in the truck. I know there's an extra solenoid here and there. But anyway, I do know that it will start, and I know that that carburetor is leaking. And I don't want it to catch on fire, so I'm going to go ahead and put my carburetor on there. Fresh fuel filter, all the hardware, spacers, gaskets. Somewhere here I even have a little bit of my stub of the fuel line that actually attaches to here. All right, we're going to go ahead and remove this carburetor, like I just said. Ooh, no, that's half. All right, let's go. Yes, I already feel the gasoline. Nope, that might be water from the radiator. Like I say, I feel something on my glove already. All right. I know this is not the factory carburetor for this, which tells me there's probably an adapter plate that will help me bolt mine up to here because they have the same pattern. I do need to keep track of vacuum hoses. I'm only seeing one right now. There should be a master vacuum. No, that's water. Okay. Okay, that is the one. That's the vacuum advance. See both. I got just a T on the fuel line there. Okay, I might have to save. Yep. I have to save my hardware for the carburetor, which means I don't get to use a spacer. As long as it bolts to this manifold, we're good. We can do any tuning or whatever later. We just need it running. There we go. Oops. Where'd that washer drop? There's a washer in there somewhere. There it is. Okay. Okay, yes, that water is leaking at the radiator still. Getting on the front of my shirt. Okay, there's for the electric choke. I'll set that aside. The carburetor I have is a manual choke. Okay, here's the big vacuum, I guess. I know this truck has a big vacuum of our hydraulic system. Okay, there's one of my suspected things that I think is why we're not starting. I don't know. Could just be the starter itself. I'm gonna have to change shirts if I keep getting water on me. Oh, don't lose it. Alright. I'm used to my square body. Alright, here's the Holly that was on there. It's leaking at all sorts of places. And then we're gonna put this on. I need to find my little stub that screws into there. And then we're gonna take, I think it already has a bit of fuel line on it, and then we're gonna put the fuel filter onto the line that came from here. This is obviously where my vacuum advance would go, and then this is where the vacuum for the brake booster will go. All right, here we are. We got the carburetor off. Okay, we have manifold vacuum here. We have another vacuum. This could probably get cleaned up real quick. Probably just wire brush it, touch it up just enough to get it clean enough we can put a fresh gasket down, fresh carburetor down, and get this thing running. All right, we're back. I had to fix this line. Robbed some fuel line off the old carburetor because every time I leaned over this I was getting wet and it was getting uncomfortable. We're scraping the carburetor gasket surface. There was no gasket at all. There seemed to have been some sort of RTV silicone at one time, and what I did is knowing I had time for it to evaporate, I just doused the whole surface here with gasoline a few minutes ago, and all that maybe RTV or whatever it was kind of disintegrated. I'm trying to do my best to see, that's carbon, I think. Get that out away, pushing it away from the carb surface, and then come back over and wipe it down with some gasoline on a rag, and we do have a gasket. And see, I think it had a vacuum leak right there. A lot of carbon here too. I can keep that carbon away from those holes. Why don't I pack those holes with some rags real quick and then come back and pull them out. Alright, we're gonna do a little bit more scrubbing. See, there's some black, I don't know, RTV or is it carbon? Now we can really go to town on it since we got those rags stuffed in there. That should catch most of it on the way out. And it's just carbon. I don't see any dirt or grit, sand. Just trying to make sure the gasket surface is clean. Clean enough for the gasket to do its job. I wish I'd have brought a gasket scraper, but I did manage to find a chisel in my toolbox. So, if you'd only known the stuff this chisel's already been through. It gets used on fiberglass quite a bit. It gets resharpened a lot by non-professionals. Well, we're professionals at something, but it's not sharpening chisels. And this is a cast iron manifold, so I don't have to worry about this chisel doing any damage. Not any real damage. I'm just using it as a scraper. Alright, what you missed out on because the battery in the glasses died. We've completed the carburetor swap. We had to go get some hardwares, 5/16 by 18 thread if I'm correct. A lot of your carburetor studs use the 18 thread on the bottom and a 24 fine thread on the top. Did not have the money for studs. They already had bolts there, but they didn't have bolts long enough for my carb spacer. And this Summit carb has to have a spacer or else it sits on the manifold. Then this went in, shortened that line. Had to shorten my other line. It was pre-bent to a different motor in different shape. We've tried to turn it over, and what we've discovered is we had a very poor connection here at the battery. So we're going to work on trying to get a little bit more of this copper exposed, and then we're going to throw a washer on top to give it a little bit more squeeze. And yes, there's going to be a lot of train horn activity. This is a very industrial part of town. I've been blocked in 3 times by trains, blocked in or out. Found a few alternate routes. One brought me to a different part of town altogether, and it was a trek. But at least I got to keep moving. I got to the auto parts store before they closed. So I'm trying to lean in here to show y'all what I'm doing. Let me go get a proper socket on there. I decided, you know what? We're already having issues with poor connections electrically. Let's go ahead and start with the positive cable. Yeah, it doesn't look great either. It's got a lot of corrosion there already. We're going to strip back a little bit more so we can go all the way around that post. Sorry, I'm nearsighted, so I often look over the top of my lenses, which probably does not help the camera point in the right direction, does it? And if I had a little vinegar or something, I don't know what would clean that copper, but I'm thinking vinegar would probably do the trick temporarily, get us home. I actually tend to make my own battery cable leads and crimp on my own ends. Find to get a much better connection for less price. A lot of the hardware store or auto parts store pre-made cables are absolute junk, and they charge too much for them. So I tend to use like a welding lead, which is overbuilt, but I'd rather be overbuilt and have a better connection. All right, let me get some pliers and give that a good twist, I think. Meeny, meeny, miny pliers. Lineman pliers it is. They're made for wire, right? Okay, where's her? There we go. Ugh, come on. That has some corrosion. You know what? If I had soda, I have diet soda. Does that work? Somebody tell me in the comments. Okay. That is going to work. Let's get a washer on it, like I talked about before. Good. That way it can spread that crush onto there a lot better. All right. Good news. Good news. Good news. I also can report. I forgot I brought it with me, but I do have a starter that may be able to replace this starter if this starter's bad. Okay. Alright, I saw a spark down there at the starter, and I'm seeing a little spark there in the push button. We'll go try the key switch. Let's pick up a little and we'll self-prime the carburetor a little bit. We'll start with that. Ooh, remind me I need to put gloves and stuff on to be inside the cab till I get it washed. Alright, I figured this out earlier. When I'm priming this, it'll push fuel through the fuel pump until it gets to the float bowls of the carburetor, and you'll feel that resistance. Yeah, I think we're there. This carburetor would have a lot harder time leaking because it's a bowl, open top bowl, how it fits. Alright. Okay, it's cleaner in here than it was, but it's still not clean. We're in neutral. Okay. We're having... Yeah. We probably have a loose connection at the starter. Alright, we'll go take a look at the connections at the starter. Might pull this truck forward if I can. That way I'm not laying in the antifreeze that spilled earlier. And here we have a couple of pictures of the starter and how I was able to rebuild it. My small block starter would not fit Clifford, so I took the solenoid apart. I discovered the solenoids were significantly different, but what I was able to do is recover that stud bolt from one starter solenoid and put it into the other starter solenoid, effectively fixing the starter without removing the original starter from the truck. Okay, believe this is a Eaton 5-speed with the high-low rear axle. And then make sure we're in neutral. Alright, give it a little pump. There we go. And she's running. There she is. Check it for fuel leaks. No, nothing leaking out of the carburetor. That's good news. I know we had problems with the accelerator pump last night. Had to swap some parts with the Holly one, which we were assuming was just as dead. Actually, it was dead. But we were able to salvage one part off of it to get this carburetor running. It looks like we have a tiny fuel leak right there. Not at the filter, but the fuel line coming up the pump. But she does run. That should be a 366 big block. It could be any big block for all we know, but these trucks came equipped with a 366. Checked the oil yesterday. It did have oil in it. Looked a little high, but we don't know. I could definitely use an oil change eventually. So I'm going to go talk to the people here about possibly storing it here, or if I have to drive it somewhere else, to store it somewhere else. I did meet somebody last night that has a square body collection, and he's not far from here. Yes, we need another hood hinge. So we might have to find alternative places to store it. We'll see. Because definitely don't have the means to get the parts to get it to drive home today. Alright, I just added more brake fluid to the master on the Firewall. I sat there and pumped it for a while until I felt a little bit of pedal, and then I heard it hissing like it was pumping air. And so now I've just added more fluid, and I feel like I'm watching it go down. And maybe it's just displacing air right now. It did stop going down, looks like. Maybe. Maybe I'll put the cover back on and pump it a few more times and see if we get any more pedal. Alright, we got an extra bonus video for you guys. I'm going to try to move this truck forwards and backwards and see if we have brakes. Alright, so we're in neutral. Go ahead and crank her up. Alright, we need to work on the throttle return spring. Alright, we have brake pedal feel. Doesn't necessarily mean we have brakes. Well, that's forward. Alright, there's reverse. I'm gonna hit the brakes. I can't tell that did anything. Go forward again. And did not have brakes. Didn't feel like it had brakes. With much disappointment, I got the truck running. I got as much fixed as I could on the truck. It did need cap and rotor. It already had a fresh cap and rotor, or working cap and rotor and plugs, or plug wires. Did need a carburetor. I called that one. I brought a fuel filter and needed that. It needed the supplemental tank, as the tank that's in it right now is full of varnish, almost all the way to the top. So we're gonna have a hard time getting rid of that. That's the problem for future Casey. So what we're going to do is we're going to find a place to store this. I believe the wrecking yard we're at may let us store it here for a fee. I've also run into a local that's a YouTuber. Oddly enough, he's not an automotive YouTuber. He actually does musical content. But he is a square body collector as well. So what I'm thinking is if I store this over there, I'm going to leave the key in it. I might even leave the title with it. If I can't come back for it, it's his. And if I do come back for it, we'll come back with the parts I need. We clearly need to fix the brakes. I don't have the time or the money to do that this week, especially the money part. And it looks like it needs a steering gearbox really badly. And it wouldn't hurt to have some tires or at least some tools to be able to replace a tire. So that's where we're at right now. Depending on where we're storing this, I'm going to retrieve my fuel tank and probably my carburetor. Alright, to reiterate what I was just saying before somebody called me. So to conclude today's trip with this truck, we're going to try to drop it off and store it somewhere, retrieve the fuel tank, battery, and probably even the carburetor. We'll put that hunk of junk back on for now just to cover the holes. And we're going to make it back to home base and see if we can't round up the parts to fix the brakes and the steering gearbox is leaking quite significantly. So definitely coming back with the game plan of fixing brakes, steering gearbox, and we're going to bring a seat that's not disgusting and smelling. So when we take this seat out, we'll get the rest of the floorboard cleared up. We'll wipe down the dash and the inside of the truck real good. And then we'll put the fresh seat in here. Probably some little bit of fresh sheet metal just to cover the holes for now. When we get it back to where we're going, we'll back to home base. We'll put some. We'll actually weld some sheet metal in. Looky here. This is a two-way rear end with the 5-speed or so. All right, here we go. The old mill truck. I borrowed a trailer with the intentions of towing the mill truck back with the big C70 there. We did a lot to the C70 last night. Had to rebuild the starter without taking it out of the truck because I couldn't find the third bolt. Swapped carburetors, got the fuel to there. Had to change fuel, or did what I could with the fuel line. I didn't have another fuel line. It was past midnight. All the auto parts stores were closed at that point. The old fuel line's hard as a rock. It was spraying fuel all over the engine. I thought we had a water pump leak at one time. Was not. We tightened the hose clamp down on it, and it still leaks a good bit. For that reason, I wouldn't consider that safe to drive until we replace the fuel line. But here we go. We'll go a quick walk around. Zoom back out. All right. Pretty good sized fuel tank there. I don't have a clue what size it is, but it's full of varnish. So we'll have to siphon that out and get rid of that stuff. Front steer tires look fairly good. They're probably the best tires on the truck. The drive tires here are okay. These are just load tires. That's a load axle. We have put a receiver hitch on. That is part of a C60 frame. If you look closely, that's not the frame of the truck. That's actually part of the dump bed. And there's where the frame of the truck is. But that's so far under the truck, I didn't see any sense of trying to hook up to that. I've decided that we probably need one more section of frame to drop it down that much more. I did have a drop hitch on there. I just pulled the pin on it and took it back out. Looks like I'm going to have to leave this here for another week and come back and finish working on it. Probably need to get some form of lug wrench in case of emergency and a jack. My game plan probably for this trip will be to remove the tires from the load axle, because we're not going to be putting that much weight on the rear axles anyway. There's part of the braking system. I'm pretty sure that's vacuum or air, and there's a vacuum booster like you'd see on a normal car, but it's mounted way under here. And then there's more under the driver's steps. I'm gonna have to find out more about how that system works. As of right now, we have no brakes, but when I popped this cap and the master under the hood, there was no fluid in them. So it's going somewhere. I was thinking maybe we had some vacuum leaks, but if we got hydraulic fluid or brake fluid going missing, that's probably what's going on. I put some in wherever the mystery brake fluid came from. It came with the truck, but that can was pretty full. The other ones were empty all the way. Got some mystery stuff up here to work with. There's a PTO and stuff as well. That kind of stuff. I think one turns it on and off, and the other one might change direction or RPMs or something. And then this is Williams air controls. That might be an air parking brake. I don't know. I hate to speculate, but it doesn't seem to be doing anything at the time. But you know what? That might be your speed for the PTO. I don't know. It's got air pressure, and there's a tachometer. You know, one of those Sun-in ones from the 80s or 90s. So I did my best to clean everything off, scoop out as much rat stuff as possible. Might bring a little bit of sheet metal just to throw over the floorboard, so when we're driving it back, we won't have any feet falling out. We'll also bring a seat that's in better shape, and we'll do what we have to do to remove that seat and leave it the nearest dumpster. So that's our quick walk around. Just occurred to me, probably don't have great footage of it. All right, this is Casey from Jack Stands and Cinder Blocks. This is Ryan
Castillo from Youth Man Records channel.
And as you can see, Ryan here is a square body collector, and he's come out here to help me bleed the brakes in Clifford there. And we believe we got that. We haven't even started it to know if they're working, but we got a lot of air out of the lines. And we're gonna go ahead and cut to the steel tripod settings, and you guys can watch along as we get this thing going. Alright, what I have here is I've previously installed the receiver hitch. Didn't know if I was going to be dealing with the truck getting tampered with, towed, or confiscated where I left it. They were good to me. Truck's still here. I've got these sections of frame added to the dump box. We're going to go ahead and bolt the receiver hitch onto there. That brings the receiver hitch down just another couple inches. Once we do that, then we got some wiring to do, and we got to figure out how to get the truck. I think the rear end is in low range right now, and I need it to be in high range. Looks like the actuator might be burned up, or might be a fuse or something else. But I've tried putting voltage today, rear end actuator, 2-speed actuator, and it's not working. So we're gonna go ahead and continue on with putting this receiver hitch on before it gets dark. And now we got 2 cameras running. Oh, and yes, I have accidentally installed this upside down before, where this set or bolted up that way and it was up. What I want is this to be down, give me a little bit more drop. And where to put my hardware? There we go. Yeah, let's loosen that a little bit. There it is. Snug enough. I don't want to over torque them. Maybe not. Well. All right. The glasses just quit, but I think you're still recording. I think that's someone installed. Give a little rattle extra. All right, we're just gonna do a little. All right. Now we're gonna actually install the receiver to the hitch. We also want to make sure we hit the further inner hole for added strength. Not for added strength, so we don't reduce the strength over torquing it. All right. That should conclude the part of installing a receiver hitch to a C70 dump truck, or literally a mill truck. It's a grain hauler. So we have the mill truck, and now we have Clifford, the big red grain truck. If you're wondering why I threw away most of the seating and interior from Clifford, that's tunnels in the foam from the mice. Yoink. Yoink. Oh, that's two. Just need one. Just need one. Yes, this too. Yoink. 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 Decided or looked at some of Ryan's trucks yesterday. He has a filter in front of his fuel pump and after. So we're going to try to swap this out without leaking gas all over me. Okay, it was just slightly primed. Alright, I'm going to put that guy right there. And then we're going to get this guy blindly. Alright, hopefully it'll take. Oh, we might replace the fuel line there. Let's see what we could do. Let's come off the steel line here. Whatever clamp that is, that's a spring style clamp. Let me go get something to bend this tube to where I can get to it better. Alright. The idea is here is to bend that steel line where I can really get to it and put a fresh rubber line on it. I'm looking at that and going, it's probably an antique. There we go. Alright. And so about removing that spring clamp. There we go. Perfect. That'll come off when the hose comes off. Okay. Oh, that's up there. The air hose is in the way. I haven't been using decades either. Let's try to just rotate that. Yes. A little bit more. Enough to get to it. Alright. Spring clamp is out of the way. Spring clamp is not completely out of the way. There's still steel line right there. Alright. We'll get it. There we go. Maybe. No, it still didn't move enough. It did that time. Okay. There we go. All right, we're back. The camera only records up to 3 minutes at a time. I like to reuse spring clamps if they're in good shape. They maintain their shape. They maintain a round pressure, and they don't over clamp and cut your tubing. So I'm gonna go ahead and reuse this guy. Slide that all the way up there to the over the barb. Oh, we went too far. There we go. That's good. Now, we go over the frame rail. And we got a blind connection here to that filter that we just put on. We'll give it a little extra hose though. All right. I cut a fire, good one. Ooh, very sharp knife. All right. I think I'm gonna go with this, even though I prefer the spring clamps. Put a tool on it and know that it snugs it up. Okay. Let's go get one on the pump here real quick. That's probably where I should have put a spring clamp. There it is. It's plenty tight. There we go. So as I get that socket or the bit onto the, there we go. I might have to do this from the top side. We'll see. All right, I can see it. Let's get it started. Oh boy. Y'all can't see it, but I can feel it. I can do a better job from up here. There it is. All right. Plus those filters have a real good barb to them. Okay. New line here, filter there. Had to put a brass barb there. Before I had a steel line that had a barb on the end. When I shortened it to make this fit, oh, see, that's a bad one. But anyway, we got a new one on there. When I shortened it, there was no barb anymore, so I had to go get a brass barb to put in there. Let's pull this forward a couple feet. Oh yeah. Whoa. Let's put that over there. I like that idea. All right. Oof. All right. Alright, you can see the condition of these rear tires, and this is a non-drive axle. This is just a tag axle. So I've devised a game plan. We're gonna jack that axle up and chain it. I know that's not the proper size jack for this weight of vehicle. I have bigger jacks at home. I didn't see spending additional money when this, and I'll probably get the job done, and I bought their warranty so I could just take it back when I break it. So we're gonna get this going. There it is. That's about as much as I can bite with the chain. Yeah, all right. Let's lower this back down. There it is. I got you on a better camera angle this time. Tighten that valve first, huh? Alright. There's a lot of pumps to get nowhere. A 20-foot of chain and a hook on each end of it. And I don't feel like trying to wrap that chain around everything here. I'm going to go get a cutoff wheel and cut this chain off at a reasonable length. I can always add hooks to it again later. There we go. Got it. All right. Okay. How's it going?
All pretty good. Another day.
Chaining this axle up so the rear tires don't touch the ground.
Oh yeah.
These tires don't have any air in them at all, so.
These back ones?
Yeah, it's just a tag axle, so.
Yeah.
Jack it up, chain it, and take those off.
Just a tag axle?
Yeah. I'm having problems with that. The 2-speed's not working on the other axle. I watched a couple videos last night. There's contacts inside there. The motor's on top of it. If I could take it apart, clean it, see what's wrong with it. Maybe it's just bad electrical connection that needs updated.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of corrosion on the wiring and stuff. That's all it took to get this taillight working. Just took the bulb out, cleaned the socket with a wire brush, and put it back in. So.
That's cool.
I got it up and running otherwise.
That's good.
It took forever to bleed the brakes. Oh, get that on first. Oh, there I go screwing up again. That's fun, real easy. All right. All right. There it went. And that's why you leave the nut on there. Did you hear that?
Yep.
There, come on. There it went. Now we can take them off. Probably ought to put those somewhere safe so I don't lose them. Maybe the toolbox on the yellow truck. Oh, the whole stud came out.
So is that wheel loose right now?
It's loose.
Okay.
Damn. Well, it's supposed to be loose. There it goes.
Nice.
There's a first for me. All right, now we got the spacer. Ooh. You tell those don't get off there very often. There we go. That's a fun sound, isn't it? There we go. Trying to hit the back side of that lip.
Right.
There we go. Nope, not yet. Come on. Found some of that steel belting sticking out. Whoop, spun it all the way off. We don't want that. We want that to catch that hook when we come off. Do it again. It's still on there. Oh, we got all 5. All right. Right. There it went. You know what? There we go. Yeah. Oh. Oh boy. Those are not light little puppies. Let's see, where's that water brush? Oh. Right? Works a whole lot better than trying to hammer it off. Which side needs a whack? I'll celebrate that as a victory. All right, you can see taking these split rim wheels off. I let the air out of them first. I was able to take those guys off the wheels after chaining up the axle. The tag axle's floating or being held up by chains, and then I was able to take those tires off. So next step, we'll try to get some of these panels off the truck, probably starting with that middle back one, and load those tires up in the back of the truck. 2 of them are decent for what this truck is, and then the other 2 were not really road safe at all. And I got that one guy still hanging around there, but it's ready to come off. There's the other one that's off. So we'll go ahead and get this gate opened up, start being able to put larger stuff in here, and then finish wiring the trailer lights. And oh, we got to get the 2-speed rear axle working or in high, because I think it was currently in low and it can't go more than 30-40 miles an hour right now. All right, what y'all missed previously, we've taken the rear wheels off. I actually saw part of that. The cameras went dead and I had a lot of people around, couldn't film. I got something in my eye. Got the wheels off. I've got them back here, and I've took some time to get these gates opened up. So I'm gonna slide these wheels up onto my bed, back my truck up, and then slide them from my bed into that bed. So here we go. Alright, let's see if I can get this bad puppy up there. Oh boy, this one's too tall. Alright, we'll set that aside. Let's see if we can get this guy up there. Alright. Oh boy. Alright, the stack is too close to the big truck. Alright, I did not rehearse this, obviously. There we go. Oh, I went from too close to too far away. Alright, we'll back the truck up. A lot of stuff going on around me. There's a skid steer over there. You could easily throw these up there with that thing, but you know what? I did ask for help and he's not volunteering it, so let's see if I can get these in here this time. Well, hell, by the time I get it in there, I might need to put it in the other. All right. It may not work. Oh, there we go. Trailer ball. Oh yeah. Got it started. One down. Oh, pardon my French. Pardon my French. All right. There we go. I'm going to take a break and figure out how to get this one up here. Alright, what we got here is I've managed to load 5 out of the 6 tires. We got 4, we'll call them spares. 2 that Eric provided and 2 off the back of the truck. We got 2 scrap ones. One of them's on the ground. Still haven't managed to get it in the bed of the truck. So always have to have one to stand them up on to get them into the bed of the truck. But now we got this truck backed up to that truck. We're gonna be able to slide them on in there and get them out of the way. Here we go. Over here. This first one's going to be a kind of a pain because other tires in the way. Oh, and I got tools I'm sliding on. Okay. Oh, wasn't counting on that. Just straight up lifted on it. All right. There, we got one in. All right, this I think should go easier. There we go. All right, that's the Eric pile. We will probably have to run a ratchet strap through these guys so they don't blow away. Got about 6 gallons of varnished gas that came out of the truck, or the tank. And this clearly has had a fire. That's the air cleaner box. Now these racks got in here. Oh, they probably started off over there. I think I'm gonna put this all the way up to the front. People are going to hate me when they're driving behind this truck. But hey, they typically don't like driving behind grain trucks anyway, right? These get heavier. All right, here we go, tire number 3. This is definitely heavier than the others. All right, here's the nasty one. Steel belt I'm showing. This where I made it in a way it doesn't have steel belt. other than this Eric sent me here. Best looking spare. One of Eric's kind of wants to go. Yeah, we're still have to figure out how to get that last tire in there. I might just be leaving this one here. Got a new idea. See you in the next scene. So, told you I had an idea. Trailer has a little bit of a ramp at the back. Roll it pretty much right on there. And now you see what's going to happen. I should have thought of this like 5 tires ago. Alright, I'd like to get you a better camera angle, but the sun coming over the top of the truck makes a glare, so I had to tighten into the shade there. And here's the last beast. We got it backed in tight this time. There we go. I'm feeling good. And that's how you get all 6 tires in the bed of a truck that's up here on you. I'm a YouTuber.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So I'm filming stuff right now.
Right.
So jack stands and cinder blocks. As you can imagine, cool. I find old old crusty, rusty vehicles and restore them and stuff.
I like the Blast Strip Garage, and I love that dude.
Yeah.
I watch all this stuff.
Pole Barn Garage, he's actually out of here.
That's Pole Barn Garage is actually my sister's husband's brother.
Really?
Yep.
Sister's husband's brother. Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because they're out in, well, I don't know where he is.
He's somewhat local here.
Yeah.
Because I actually called him to see if I could store this at his house.
Yeah.
And it was his wife's birthday that day. Sorry, camera goes off every 3 minutes. These are 1157 bulbs. I'll probably just buy a new one when I'm at the auto parts store later, but I will try to clean up this connection here to the point where if I put this bulb in there, it should light up. So, we'll see. We'll work on the connections. In fact, I've already scooped some of the dirt out of there. That's the downside to having a cracked lens, is your dirt gets in there, water gets in there, you get corrosion, and that ruins your connections. Alright, I can't stand this Romex in there. I'm going to see if I can't do something about that. To me that looks like Romex. I can't imagine that they have any sort of legitimate lighting wire that looks like Romex. We'll see. Get it apart, take a little bit better look at it. Hang on. There we go. Make this a little bit faster for you guys. There we go. All right. All right, let's see here. Okay, oh wow. Oh, okay. I thought that was melted plastic. That is, I'm guessing, some sort of waterproofing wax or grease. And then that's just dirt that's worked its way up in there. Well, holy smokes. I spoke too soon. That is not Romex. That is a legitimate wire for wiring these trailer lights. Cool stuff, cool stuff. I know that I'm not going to see real connections under these electric tape. Again, that's my biggest pet peeve about other people's electric is half-assery and electric tape covering where it should be watertight connection. Alright, we'll move some of that waxy grease stuff up there to the top, right where the terminals there are. Alright, I like that. I'm going to leave it off just for now. We're going to come back with the multimeter. I'm going to turn the headlight switch on, verify that my colors are right, and come back and get this sorted out. Alrighty then, we're back. We're going to turn our multimeter on. I'm not a fan of this particular multimeter. We'll get it set to DC. Alright, we got DC, I think, and then we're going to set the range to a more appropriate range. There we go. We'll set that in that cradle, I guess. We hit ground somewhere here. The back of the thing should work just fine. Alright, it's the brown wire. I'll double check that. Standard automotive or trailer wiring lights, or trailer light wiring. That should be correct. Alright, so we got that lit up. And that's good. Alright, for ease of wiring, I bought this kit. It's got 5 feet of wire. It's all your trailer wires that are mandatory. Left, right, blink, and running light. And I got this because I have a 7-pin trailer connector. So there's my 7-pin, and guess what? This will plug right into there. I'll cut the other end off, splice it into all the wiring at the tail lights back there. And I guess we'll just hang this somewhere because I don't see any sort of mounting system here. So we'll find a nice hole to maybe, might need a larger hole. We'll find a nice spot to hang it, and then later we'll come up with a more permanent solution where we could put this through. By the way, there's your part number. I believe I bought this at O'Reilly's this morning, and I'm pretty sure I got this in from Harbor Freight. Alright, what we found out last night is this is not Romex. It actually has multiple colors of your trailer wire inside there. See, they've got it coming out with a brown and a green, and then on the other side we've got some of that standard trailer wire stuff. Actually, this is the input coming from the front of the truck. This is the output going to that tail light. And for the running lights, they soldered a lot, and still didn't give us enough connection. So there was some bad wire with no shielding, so I went back there to make my splice. Tagged into my cable for the bumper here, or the trailer light, and then this is the running lights for the rest of the body. Apparently we're missing connections here for those 3 guys. We'll try to make some of those up tonight, but we're don't know if these fittings are any good or not. I'm gonna play with that later. But right now I want the trailer lights working. The running lights are less important because I'm not really intending to drive at night right now. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap that connection with electric tape. I've got a cloth electric tape, probably a little bit more durable. Not watertight though. I would like to put a junction box on the back side of there later and clean this up a bit, but we'll see what we can do. So give it a couple of, there we go. Oh, I hear another wrecker. Maybe my buddy's got a reprieve. He can't get into where he needs to be parking the vehicle. Yeah, that wrecker guy's probably not happy either, but we'll see. I did get to see a lot of cars coming out of their storage lot today. Some that got towed probably during the weekend for being illegally parked. And then a couple wrecked ones that are probably going across the street to the auction yard. All right, there we go. That is wrapped. And then we've cut into the green. That was another soldered joint. We're going to try to bring in, bring in these in a yellow fitting, heat shrink fitting, and then bring in that guy to feed them.
Oh boy, we got a check. Alright, let's strip some of that back. Take some of this off too.
Alright, we got our green to green, we got a yellow to yellow, we got a brown to brown. That's kind of a black wire, but it's what I have available. And then I'm going to use this black wire again for my white going to ground. That's just to ground all your trailer lights instead of going through the hitch or the trailer ball that doesn't always make good ground. So we're going to put this together. And I think we're going to ground it to right there. And I don't have a heat gun with me. I do have a lighter, but I think I'll just let this ride till I get back where I'm going, and then we'll heat shrink them when we get there. As long as we have good connections for this trip, as long as we have good connections for this trip, we'll be able to go. So we're gonna have trailer lights here very shortly. I'll be able to plug, I guess, the trailer into it and test that out. Oh, you know what? I believe there's an extra wire connector here that I will have to run an additional wire for trailer brakes, because trailer brakes get signal from your trailer brake controller, and that's one of the additional pins I believe in that kit. Figured as much. Can't even see back there. Not liking that one. That's out. Okay, that's a bracket holding the air tubing for the airbags. So I've never crawled the full length of this truck underneath before, and I find this box. Alright, so we got vacuum tank. Actually, this is vacuum for the tag axle. Here's the main vacuum assist hydro brake system for the C60s and C70s, and this seems to be tied into that. There's some vacuum ports that makes this operate, and this I believe is high pressure air. Nope, that's another vacuum reservoir. This is the T. There it goes to there. All right, but anyway, this is high pressure air. This is for the rear tag axle had airbags, which are currently not working. But look how this is made to where you can open it kind of from the bottom. I guess you'd have to take this off, or I don't know. Okay, you'd lift. Oh, with the dump bed up, you could undo these bolts and then take the box off the top. Now I got a mysterious wire going into here, and I got a T coming out of there. So I'm thinking maybe the engine-driven air compressor quit and they have a 12-volt one of some sort. There's also some evidence of rat's nests in there, so we're gonna leave that the heck alone right now. I've already done my fair share of being exposed to this project, and we'll get it back to where we can pressure wash it for free. We are going to pressure wash the inside of the cab. Looks like tomorrow, because it's already getting dark today. We've got trailer lights wired up now, so a sequence of events goes. That part's done. And what is this? Is tying a board to stay up there. Okay, that's for the, I guess the board's kind of a pad for the tilt bed, I guess. I don't know. I don't understand that's my rationale for why that board is going to be wire tied to the frame in multiple locations. Dang this. I'd run a carriage bolt or something through it, but if this is what kept them on the road, it's what kept them on the road. So, you know, it works if it works. What's the phrase? It's not stupid if it works. Alright, so there's a transmission drum style parking brake, I'm assuming. Then we've got a PTO shaft going into the hydraulic system there. And then we have a PTO shaft driving the hydraulic tilt bed. A little bit of a leak there. We'll deal with that some other time too. Because I think I want to keep that operational for the car hauler function being a tilt bed. Alright, now I'm looking to see where. Okay. Alright, here's our wiring for our taillights. So I'm still chasing that. That seems to be it right there. And I'm trying to figure out where it goes into the cab at and duplicate that with my trailer brake line here. I know it's the wrong color, but this is the wire I have. And this is going to be what we use. Yep, I feel it. That is it. Keeps going. Alright. We might find a slightly different route. No, it seems to be high and away from the exhaust. And it does run right by that clutch arm. Okay, we can stay. Yeah, we're going to route this wire behind there in the frame channels instead of outside here. We could probably use some of that twisty tie to tuck this wire. Oh look, there's a frame clip on that wire. It's supposed to clip it and keep it in place. Anyway, fun. Oh, it's raining dirt. My favorite kind of dirt, I'm sure. Kind with mouse droppings in it. Okay, there it is. And now, okay, pull some slack. We're gonna have to open the hood and try to fish this out. Wish me luck. Feed it up to something. Oh, there's the oil. Well, we'll figure something out. I just made a discovery. I've been wondering where some of these wires come from and go to. So it's just a pass-through bulkhead there, going to the top sides of the terminals, I guess, and then they tie the wiring from the chassis and everything else in those terminals. And there's probably a little bit of a schematic there to tell you what's going on with this stuff. That hangs right over it as a dust shield, I guess. Oh, water shield too, I guess. All right, wish me luck. Okay, so I've taken this green and yellow wire and fed it down where I want this wire, the pink wire, to go through. And we're gonna hook them together and pull them out as soon as I get my tape ready. These trains are relentless around here. Interestingly enough, I thought they were all one set of, or whatever, I guess one set of tracks. There's tracks, a rail yard just on the other side of the river, and it extends probably a couple miles in either direction. And then we're on the other side of the river, and we're in a little pocket of land that we have multiple railroad crossings, that when the train is on those tracks, it blocks us in. So we only have one real means of ingress and egress, and we have to take this little road that takes us across the river directly beside the other rail yard. Now I'm sure the reason we get so much traffic is there's probably a rail bridge very close to here that goes right into that rail yard, or transfers these trains into the rail yard or out of the rail yard. So anyway, there we go. We got that ready. I mean, we could have just gone through that hole in the floorboard, but that's not really the way you want to route things. So we're going to pull this through. Got a little service loop going on right now, but there's some slack. We're going to go ahead and pull that up from the top side, and that's where we'll see you next. Sorry, I got a little excited and started pulling before I turned the camera on. But here we go. We've got that run from the back bumper. There we go. We're about a foot away from the front bumper right now. And I think we've used up all of our slack. We're pulling probably off the spool at the very back. We don't need that. All right, let's go ahead and disconnect this and figure out where we're gonna go from the firewall with. All right. Got a giant hole through the firewall where these PTOs go through at the steering column. So we're gonna chase those guys right by the steering column. It's clearly that gasket, whatever, damaged from years and years of this PTO stuff being run through that same hole. Oh, come on, go. All right, that'll probably be enough. I should be able to go into the inside and pull that through. All right, welcome to the rat's nest extraordinaire. I don't think that, no, that's not my wire. There's the pink wire. Pink, red, whatever it was. It's not, I don't think it's the same color it was when they bought it, but a buddy of mine donated that to me a while back. All right, let's go. Thinking over some of these lines. Yeah, we'll do a lap over them. Sorry about that, bad lighting. We're gonna go that way, and we're gonna mount the brake module up here somewhere. Brake controller. And the only reason I'm going over and around some of this stuff is just to keep it from drooping like some of these other wires under the hood here, or under the dash. In fact, I'm gonna run this right through that hole, pre-existing hole, so I don't have to drill it. And then we're gonna run some wire to there, or power to it, and we're gonna figure out, probably if I drop this, we should be able to figure out where our brake light switch is. We're gonna tap into the output from that, And we're going to feed the module. That's what it needs. It needs power. It needs a feed from the switch, the brake light switch, and then it's going to feed power to the brakes at the trailer connector. Can somebody please help me remember this red wire under my dash is from the brake light switch on the crew cab? Alright. This is when I tested the lights. Even though I'd wired everything correctly, everything that went through the turn signal switch, to include the brake lights, had quit working. Later resolved this by replacing the turn signal switch. Don't call it a blinker switch. Headlights off, brakes. Alright, ladies and gentlemen and YouTuber friends and family, what I'm doing here is replacing the turn signal indicator. I had to remove the steering column. By the way, the wheel puller from a certain Harbor Freight style or import style store does not go narrow enough for the GM steering wheels. I've already discovered this in the past, so I had to use a die grinder to modify the wheel puller to where the bolts can go in narrow enough for the steering wheel. But as you can see here, when I drove it down initially, it was a little off center of this is the main shaft of the steering column, and it made a divot way up there. I was going to take a flap disc on a grinder and surface the top of that and then make a new divot with a drill bit. That idea didn't work because the steering wheel did not have enough room for the 4.5-inch grinding disc. So what I wound up doing is using a die grinder with a pointy bullet shaped tip and offset grinding until I got it centered enough on this steering shaft. Then I was able to put the wheel puller back in and able to pull the steering wheel finally. So the next step, I'll be removing a couple screws as well as this screw for the handle itself. Wow, there's we got a lot of play there. But anyway, this, I suspect the switch itself, the contacts are probably dirty or bad. We'll get the new switch installed and maybe put a dash of some sort of lube right there on that steering bearing. Would like to see a new hazard switch, but I don't see one available. I was able to get this one, even though this is a C70. I'm pretty darn sure that the C10 ones from the same year will fit. Alright, if you want the minor differences between what I found on my steering column and with my turn signal indicator switch, this hazard button is permanently built into that switch. Took a little extra wrestling. Once I figured it out, I was able to push the entire switch assembly Once I figured it out, I was able to push the entire switch assembly that way and then lift this side, this end where the arm goes in, and pull it out. Got that part loose. And then my next problem is, this is not a standard non-tilt steering column that I'm familiar with. I had to push this metal sleeve back and over. You can see this bell has a little bit of a cutout on the back side. So push that sleeve that way and I was able to pop it out. And I should be able to get to this wiring harness and run this wiring harness down the sleeve and put the new turn signal switch in. I'm not new to square bodies, but I might be new to early square bodies, or I'm just very new to C70s. But there's this is a bell separate from the rest of the column. But we can slip this through there. It follows that channel. There's another slot there in the steering column mount. You run it through there and around, and it connects to the mating connector for this guy. Well, here we go, guys. We got Clifford, we got the mill truck, we got them all in the trailer. I'm gonna pause for a truck to pass. And we got them both. Got the mill truck on the trailer, got the trailer all hooked up. We should have working trailer lights, brake lights, blinkers, and we got headlights even on Clifford working last night. So we have all possible lighting and even trailer brakes. So let's put her in gear and hit the road. Usually I'd put a camera here, GoPro, and watch me take off, but I don't want to come back to this place even to pick up my camera. We're out of here. We got her doing 70. That was a good hill. So here's what it's like to be driving the Clifford truck. It's noisy, it's loud, it's hot, it shakes, rattles, and squeaks a lot. We're also towing the mill truck behind, so has added weight going up the hills. We don't currently have the high-low to split gears on 4th and 5th. Those are the main ones I would want to split. Anyway, so we're driving along. Here's our B-roll. By the way, the 70 was the fastest I've got her up to yet. Previously was 60, and it's always going downhill. But looks like we're on the top of 5th, so we're not losing as much speed when we're going up the hill. And the hills are getting smoother, I guess. They're not as steep as when we were leaving the Kansas City area. Some of those hills, I was in first gear, second gear, whatever gear I was in, I had to downshift once or twice sometimes. Forward there. All right, we're here in Clifford, in a certain city. Home base for us, I guess. We'll wait for the light to turn, and we're going to show y'all me going through the gears. I'm actually starting in 2 high, and I'm about to push in on the clutch here. There we go. There we go. That was not smooth. There's 3rd. Fourth. That's 4 high. We should have 4 low, but we don't have it right now. And we're going to go to 5 high. I'll wait till I crest this hill, because if I shift too soon, it'll slow down. That should be fast enough. Oh, that went right in 5th. We're up here with the semis instead of down there with the cars. And that's about as fast as she goes, really. We'll crest this hill and go a little bit faster. Speedometer, fuel gauge, pretty much everything except for the vacuum gauge do not work. So we have one working gauge in this whole truck. There we go. So we're going to gain a little bit of speed. This should be about 50 to 55 miles an hour right here. We might wind her on up to 60, although we'll be speeding. This is a 55 mile an hour speed limit area. And that is as fast as she goes. We're in the top of the top gear. And I better let out a little bit. because I know there's a state trooper around the corner. All right, we'll catch y'all later.